All right, we are live unexpectedly. And the reason why I have my fireplace going is because it's a little chilly, but I also thought it might be a semi-appropriate way to be able to um, semi-appropriate way to uh, honor those who fell victim earlier. And so anyway, I wrote a little script here, and so that way I could try to stay on topic. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. Jacob asks, what happened to the victims in Manhattan? We'll go over that. And by the way, hello, Jacob. Good evening, YouTube, and all of my subscriber family. Today is October 31st, 2017. For all of you who celebrate Halloween, I want to wish you the best that you have ever experienced in previous years, despite the situation in New York. But before we get into that, I want to address my gratitude to you, my viewers, as I do in all of my live streams, and attempt to do in the majority of my videos in general. As I have mentioned several times in the past, I am no mathematician, but I understand the numbers. Without all of you, my channel will not grow. To put it another way, all of you are the reason why my channel is where it is now, and will be as successful as it eventually becomes, Lord willing. I am simply one man with a camera and a certain perspective on any given topic of discussion. As broken and flawed as I may be, and probably am, you take valuable time out of your day to watch my videos. For that, I thank you, and my appreciation goes beyond any description which can be collected by an articulately structured sentence, let alone paragraph or more. Your time is valuable because life is precious. And we will go to the chat side. Oh, and there goes my phone. Sorry about that. Yeah. Shiloh says, hey, I want to say hello to Shiloh. And Jacob says, nice flame, and thank you. I guess you could say that I upgraded a little bit. Maybe there's a way I can do this better. There we go. And then Jacob says, always, bro, you make us watch good videos. I'm like, oh, no, don't even put that on me. I don't make you do anything, Jacob. Well, I might make you do something. I don't even know what that means. Sign Guy says, hello, hope you're doing well. I am, thank you, Sign Guy. I hope the same for you. Despite that slight little challenge that you're currently dealing with, which I'm sorry to hear about. And so Jacob says, so don't drop that in the fire, dude. And don't worry, there's actually a glass partition, which is, I don't know if you can see my hand, but no, you can't. Well, maybe you can. No, you can't. Oh, well. So back to my little script here. It is small. I didn't prep it as well as I normally try to with my live feeds, because this is kind of something I wanted to respond to sooner than later. And now on the difficult topic of discussion. And it is difficult, painfully so. It is always my intention to deliver positivity in all of my videos and interactions with you. But there is nothing positive about this. Just hours ago, an Uzbekistan immigrant, whose name I shall not mention, murdered 8, possibly 9 people and injured 12 others. The story is all over the news, so I do not need to go into details on this. It happened in the same area of Manhattan, New York, that I was in less than 1 month ago. I walked along that street. Now, to be fair, that is a busy area for pedestrians. So what if I walked there? thousands, if not millions of people do every day. I mention this because I could have been one of the 9 victims, or number 10. Had I chosen to go to New York now rather than when I did. But I am not special by any stretch of the imagination. Literally millions of people can say the same thing. That could have been me. I cannot help but think about James 4:14. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Many times, it vanishes suddenly, unexpectedly, and undeservedly. Such is the case with these 9 victims who had not, to my knowledge, been identified yet. I am certain that we can all agree on this. Fortunately, there were only 9 deaths, but unfortunately, there were more than 0. As I mentioned earlier, life is precious. We go back to the back away from the script for just a moment. And then Lorraine says, all the best, thank you, and all the best to you as well. More importantly, to those who were caught victim in this terrorist attack, as it is now called. And then Chaos Paddlers, aka Jacob, says, I'm so glad you didn't and wasn't. Rest in peace, the people who were there, and healing hands to those who are hurt. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And just a little bit more script, and then maybe we can spend a few minutes just chit-chat and whatnot. Do you want to know what I pray for? I pray that the Lord has already written the names of the 9 who were murdered into his book of life. I pray that they get to rejoice in the presence of the Lord and get to experience his infinite and righteous glory. I pray that the families be given strength, understanding, acceptance, and courage. Strength for whatever obstacles come their way during the grieving process, that they may persevere and eventually rise above and grow. Understanding that they are not at fault, that nothing they could have done would have changed the situation, that vindication is not the answer, that it is okay to be sad right now, and understanding that forgiveness is the best medicine, as difficult as it may be to forgive, hence having strength. Acceptance of what happened, which requires strength and understanding, and comfort because there will be hardship and suffering. I pray that they receive comfort not only from one another, but also from the Comforter. And to those who were injured, the 12, there may be more, but not to my knowledge, I pray the same things for strength, understanding, acceptance, and comfort. But I also ask for healing, as Jacob had previously mentioned, that they would come to a miraculous healing. And there's something, I think, far more difficult, at least from what I've been able to see with my own eyes, my own observations. When it comes to those who are injured, there's a slightly different struggle than those who lost a family member. Because that family member, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it is what it is. But a victim that's injured has a completely different struggle, because that may be a permanent type of injury. And I don't know what kind of injuries these people, bestowed upon. Well, didn't necessarily bestow upon, but what they fell victim to. I don't know what kind of injuries they have. My hope is that they heal miraculously, quickly, And but it's hard to say. And if they don't, I mean, that's really up to the Lord. But if they don't heal the way that I would hope and pray that they do, there's a big challenge involved in that, and that's a different type of forgiving. I can only imagine how difficult it would be, and maybe not. I don't know, because I don't run into this situation. I'm rather blessed in that department. But imagine not being able to use your left or right arm for the rest of your life. Perhaps you lost your vision. How difficult would it be to forgive someone for doing that, especially knowing that they're still alive? Maybe in prison for the rest of his life, or maybe he'll get the death sentence. But there's no such thing as justice on this side of glory that will be enough to equate to an equivalent, that will be an equivalent to make up the difference. And that's the unfortunate thing. And I don't even necessarily even think there should be such a thing as enough justice. The unfortunate thing is that it had to happen. I know why it happened. Not this particular individual, who I will not name the name of, because that's what they want. That's what ISIS wants. And they have claimed some sort of role in this. Well, I don't know if they have directly, but there was a note that was found in Arabic. But I don't know his particular intentions and especially why he chose what he did. But I know why he used the method. And I know why he yelled out Allahu Akbar, however you say that. God is great. But let me ask you a question, Mr. Vindicator. Mr. Well, not that you'll ever hear this, but if God is great, why would you do this? Then again, I can ask this of many people of the past. And I don't ask this out of retaliation, out of trying to find some sort of way to get back at this person, because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do that will bring back 9 lives. There's nothing anybody can do to bring back 9 lives or recover the injuries of those he hurt. It's one of those things that kind of frustrates me, that someone's willing to go through all this effort. Now, I know that he yelled all that out when he crashed into the bus and couldn't go anywhere, so he yelled out with a paintball gun and a pellet gun. He was hoping to get shot. He was hoping to be killed. And I'm not going to say anything more than that, because I don't want to talk bad about Islam as a religion. It doesn't speak well for the peaceful Muslims out there. And quite frankly, his intentions aren't the same as probably most of them out there. I have a lot of Muslim friends. I really do. And you know what? That's irrelevant at this point. What really matters is that even though this is a very negative situation, there is positivity that can come out of it. And that is our unity. Not only as fellow people perhaps fellow people of faith. Maybe not everybody who watches this video or this live stream is of the faith, and that's fine too. But those who are, we can pray. And in addition to that, our unity as a country. We have that ability. We have that thing that we call freedom. Which brings me up to another thing that I want to talk about in a little while. But we have the choice to get together. We have the choice to bind to one another, locking arms, if you will, and comforting one another and supporting one another. I mean, it happened with 9/11. And even though it was 16 years ago, we can do that even today, despite the challenges that occur with all the political schemes that seem to be going on, or how the society likes to politicize everything. And this is not a political discussion, but society likes to politicize everything, and it's unfortunate. Why can't we just, despite our differences in ideology, why can't we just all prosper together as one nation? treating everyone as children of God first and Americans second. That is for those who are in America. But it'd be the same as, children of God first and Uzbekistan people or citizens second. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact name of what people call themselves from Uzbekistan. I can't even say the name of the country right, unfortunately, and that's my fault because I'm a broken and shattered individual. It's my fault because, I am ignorant in that department. But regardless, we are children of God first, and the more we recognize that, the less this kind of stuff will happen. And that's all I really want to talk about it. I just pray that the families of all the victims, whether they be death or just injury, will find the comfort that they need, the strength they need, the understanding, and the acceptance. And with that, I'm going to go real quick over to the chat because that was a little bit lengthy. And Chaos Paddlers, aka Jacob, says, "You're good people, man. Wish there was more you in the world." Well, I appreciate that, brother. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I definitely appreciate it. And Shiloh says, "Let God's light shine through this tragedy." I completely agree. L. Norm says, "This is very inspiring. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad that you stopped by to, spend a few minutes, and I appreciate that. So thank you if you're still watching/listening." Jacob says, "We have to band together and help others as you want to be treated." Absolutely. I could not agree more. That's why I say in my videos, love others as you love yourself. Shiloh says, "Where sin abound, grace is more abundant." Yep, absolutely. Romans 5:20. And Sign Guy says, "Well spoken, brother. Brother, our faith in God and love of freedom will always beat these demons." Well, I don't want to label them as demons. I really don't. I mean, even though I absolutely hate the actions that they do, I don't want to label them as demons because they're still people. They're still made in the image and likeness of God, even if they don't act like it. But I get where you're coming from. And aside from that, I couldn't agree more. Shiloh says, "Forgiveness through grace, God's ability in us." Absolutely. And then Chaos Peddler says, and I kind of glanced at this, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea, but I wanted to read the other mentions as well. "Could you possibly do a moment of silence for those who are lost, brother, with you giving a prayer to those who are hurt and for those who were killed, sir?" Well, I kind of did the prayer part, and I like to do most of my praying in private, not because I get nervous over prayer or whatnot. I don't have a problem with that, but because I think there's a little bit more. I don't know. I think it's just a little bit more intimate that way. I don't know. I mean, but I did share my prayers overall, but I think a moment of silence is definitely in order. So without any further ado, I would like to do that for not only those who were lost, but also those who were injured. So we will do that right now. So thank you for the suggestion, Chaos Paddlers / Jacob. All right. Awesome. Can't think of a better way to really honor their memory, even if we had never met them in person. And quite frankly, even if they weren't even members of our country, it doesn't even matter. Because I know my understanding is that some of them from like Hungary and a couple of other countries, but it doesn't matter. You know, we're all made in the image and likeness of God, and that's what's really important. I mean, we need to celebrate all life because, as I mentioned, life is precious. Swamp Hick says, I pray for the families of the victims. I also pray for all religious in the world to come out united and with the loudest of the outland voices in condemnation of these attacks now. Yeah, yes, I agree. And it's not even really about, I mean, that's the problem is this isn't really about, I mean, I know that the attack was a religious effort. And like I said, I don't really want to talk bad about Islam or even about radical Islam because I don't think that's necessarily fair. My opinions aside and my own thought processes in any sort of religion aside, you know, this isn't, you know, life isn't about religion. Religion is half the reason why violence even occurs. And perhaps I'm being a bit facetious on, and maybe I'm not, maybe my numbers are completely inaccurate because I don't give it enough credit, but religion's half of the reason why we have violence in the country, or in the world, sorry. Because people have some sort of set ideas, you know, groups of people have set ideas, or they like the idea of having set ideas, and when people disagree, then chaos occurs, and that's just unnecessary. I mean, I don't have to have, you know, I don't have to have everybody agree with me. I'd like it if everybody agreed with me, but that's just not going to happen. And if only everybody could see it that way, then I guess they would see it my way. See, Andrea Hank, I hope I'm saying that right. Said, did you hear about Terry and Scott accident? Azia and Carolyn, friends, send prayers to them also. They are destination open road. I heard about the accident. I think, was it Scott that was killed in the accident? I think, or am I thinking about a different situation? Hi, Girl on Fire 2.0. And hi, Andrea. Thank you for joining as well. And same with Swamp Hick. Sometimes I have a difficult time remembering to say hi. I could be mistaken on that because, you know, it was a little while ago, but regardless, I mean, I know that a ton of people that follow my channel were doing some prayers. Oh, and oh, it is Andrea says, no, this just happened. No, I did not hear about it then. No, unfortunately not. Chaos Paddler says, I've got to go now, brother. Thank you for this video, and we'll follow up on the video. Love you, brother. Love you too, Jacob. And thank you for joining in. I really wasn't expecting the live stream to go this long because I just wanted to give my little spiel that I wanted to say out there, and unfortunately when I don't write something down it comes across a little odd, but I don't always iterate everything that goes on in my mind all that well, but the parts that I did want to iterate more accurately I did write down, so I did. Take care, Shiloh. Thank you for joining in. Kathy Girly Girl, how you doing, brother? Just seeing a flame. Hey, Kathy, yeah, that's all I'm showing for two reasons. One, I didn't really mention this earlier, but one is to kind of honor those who were murdered earlier in Manhattan, unfortunately. So it's kind of like my way of, giving them a little bit of honor. The second reason is because I don't have very good lighting in here, and I guess a third reason is my right eye is bothering me. I've got a scratched cornea, but I mean, that'll get better. I'm not so much worried about that. I just can't wear a contact in my right eye, which is not the end of the world, and it'll go away. It's happened before. It was my fault, so it is what it is. Okay, Andrea says they got sideswiped on their way to California. They were head. I don't know what they were head. I don't know exactly what that means, but it doesn't matter what that really means. What the message is rather clear that they got sideswiped, and that is really unfortunate. And yeah, there will definitely be some prayers. Especially. I think the biggest positive, I suppose, would be that there were no deaths. I'm hoping. I'm assuming. But also, I'm just hoping that and praying that they have no major injuries. I'm not even sure if I really know them on YouTube all that well. I know they have a channel. I don't remember if I've ever really even checked out their channel, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're still, again, they're children of God, made in His image and in His likeness, and that's what really matters. And because of that, they're precious people. And, prayers going out to them as well. So, and that's to, again, to Terry and Scott. And Karen Ritter says, prayers for the families, praying for peace, as always. Gosh, what's it going to take to make a change? Well, unfortunately, Karen, so long as people exist, and as long as people exist on this broken side of glory, there's always going to be some sort of calamity, and I don't like saying that. I really don't. But this has been happening for 6,000 plus years. So this shouldn't come as a surprise. Kathy Girly Girl says, "Oh yes, a tragic incident. Sorry to hear about your eye. Oh, thank you. Are you living in the van now?" Well, I am currently parked outside of my work in the parking lot, and it is 9:39. So I hope that at least somewhat gives a hint to an answer to your question. Let's see. Regina McDonald says Terry was jostled around and checked out at a hospital. Their rug and camper were damaged badly. Oh, you know what? They're I'm assuming truck and camper, but either way, truck and camper, rug and camper, those things are replaceable. Their lives are not. I'm sorry to hear that Terry was jostled around. My hope is that she makes a quick recovery. And then Swamp Pig says, "Thank you for hanging out with us. You got to get back to work. Thank you for checking out on your break from work. That means a great amount. Don't work too hard." Pamela says, "Yes, prayers lifted. I was shocked to hear another day, another attack. I believe these are the end times. Read the Revelation. It tells all." Well, I have a different view on Revelation than you do, it sounds like, Pamela. But if Revelation was about the end times, I would have to say that, you might be right. But then again, that's hard to say. I don't necessarily see Revelation as an end times prophecy. I think of it more of a... Well, anyway, I think of it more of it has happened in history. And I have a lot of reason to think that, but it's irrelevant right now. Yes, I'm going to watch Ozzy tell what happened to Terry Scott. Wow. See. Oh, Kathy Girly Girl. Reagan Camper would make a lot more sense. That's what Kathy Girly Girl said. Reagan Camper. See. And then Andrea added a little bit more information as far as Terry and Scott on the way to Lake Havasu. I'm assuming Havasu. Totally sorry. I'm on my phone. Hey, you don't have to apologize to me. That's for certain. I'm on my phone too. I normally try to do it on my laptop, but I don't have my laptop right now. I'm still settling in. I'll say that much. I'm still settling in. I have a little tablet. It's a Windows 10 tablet, and it works well, but I haven't worked all the kinks out on doing live feeds on it. The reason why I got a Windows 10 tablet is because it's much easier on electricity. Regina says, many prayers to the victims and families of the Manhattan tragedy. Yes, very much so. And Girl on Fire 2.0 says, bad news. I'm guessing another terrorist attack of some kind. It definitely was. Girl on Fire. Took 9 lives. It's either 8 or 9 lives. And injured 12 others. And at least 2 of those 12 were children. So it's unfortunate. It really is. And the attack was done by a rental truck from Home Depot in New Jersey. Don't know which Home Depot. Drove to Manhattan, and the rest of the story at that point. And I'm not going to talk about why this particular person, who I know the name, will not mention the name. Gives power to the name. I refuse to do that. But it's a little chilly, so my nose is starting to act up. So if I sound a little nasally, that's why. Until I finally get acclimated to the cold. But there's a reason why they use vehicles rather than guns at this point, and I'm not gonna talk about that because it's irrelevant. 9 people lost their lives. That's what matters. And like I said earlier, fortunately it was only 9, but unfortunately it was more than 0. And that's just the tragedy of it. And I mentioned my prayers. I'll mention them one more time, just because I know there are a few people who weren't here for that. And I pray that the Lord has already written the names of the 9 who were murdered into his book of life. I pray that they get to rejoice in the presence of the Lord and get to experience his infinite and righteous glory. I pray that the families be given strength, understanding, acceptance, and courage. Strength for whatever obstacles come their way during the grieving process. That they may persevere and eventually rise above and grow, understanding that they are not at fault, that nothing they could have done would have changed the situation, that vindication is not the answer, that it is okay to be sad right now, and understanding that forgiveness is the best medicine, as difficult as it may be to forgive, hence having strength. Acceptance of what happened, which requires strength and understanding. And comfort, because there will be hardship and suffering. I pray they receive comfort not only from one another, but also from the Comforter. And I pray that not only to the 9, but I also pray that for the 12 who were injured, along with miraculous and unexpected and unexplainable recovery. And Kathy Girly Girl says, gotta go. Good night, brother. And to all of you, lock arms and be a force of Christ against the enemy. Amen. Kathy, good night. And thank you for joining in the chat. So very sad. Andrea says, so very sad. I'm from Ohio. The news said he had ties somehow here. I pray for all the families. I'm not sure. I didn't see that he had any ties to Ohio. I did see that he had ties to Tampa. And previous to that, he was in, I can't even remember the name of the country anymore. Uzbekistan. So he immigrated from Uzbekistan to Tampa, Florida, and then from that, that was like 7 years ago. He's 29 years old, so he's like 22 when that happened, and like for whatever reason, he rented a truck from Home Depot. I didn't even know they did that, by the way. And from Home Depot, New Jersey. So who knows how he got to New Jersey. And then, the rest is history. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. If you missed out on any of the earlier stuff, I will leave this open at least for the next day or two. That way, anybody who wants to, they can listen to my little spiel. Some of it sounding a little bit more professional than other parts of it. But anyway, I want to thank every one of you for showing up and for watching this live stream. I know that it wasn't, it was unexpected, it was unplanned, and it definitely was not, I didn't put it in the event calendar because, this was just something I wanted to be able to do after work and before I went to bed. So thank you all again. And as always, thank you for watching. Take care. Love others as you love yourself. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, just real quick before I forget, I don't know about either this Friday or starting next Friday. I kind of want to start implementing something I'm going to call Freedom Friday, which would be a live stream talking about freedom and what it means in all of its different aspects, one aspect at a time. So, and thank you, Regina, for wishing my eye a quick healing, and I'm hoping so. Of course, I'm not going back into town and for another couple of days, so we'll see how it works out. But yeah, Freedom Friday, hopefully this Friday, but if not, then maybe next Friday. And I want it to be kind of a regular thing, talking about all different types of aspects to this whole concept of freedom. And then Elnorm says, it was all very nicely said. I choked up knowing there are spiritual guys like you out there. Well, thank you. I mean, I take that as a great compliment, and I wish I saw more of it myself. I mean, and by that I mean not in other people. I try to see the best in people, but I wish I saw more of the spiritual side of myself in myself. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. Good night. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.